Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now onto the show.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Here I am, Sally, Call Me Zena. Anybody that wants to call in, please call in. The number is
888-994-4995 at Studio A.
And I have two very special guests sitting in the studio, Dawn and Freddie. So this is going to be an amazing show. Welcome, everybody. And anyone that wants to call in, our topic today is...
I think we're going to talk about living in the present.
Beautiful, living in the present. Okay, so anybody that wants to call in or has any questions for me, please call in. Okay, so let's open the show.
Well, last week, Sally, you touched about, we talked about whether your spirit guides had any influence on what's going on in your present life. And you were very specific and explained to people how choice runs into the matter. And then we talked a little bit, we started to explore how choice can change depending on what's going on with you. Today is a great example of that.
I agree. And you know what? I just want to mention also that I truly believe, and it was a message for me that I had, because I had a premonition. And I just want to share that because we still have individual choice. But this story to me was quite amazing for me to even understand that. I had a dream about a week ago. And in my dream, I was carrying a purse and I totally lost it. I didn't know where it was. And I actually had Steve, my husband, was with me in the dream. And I'm panicking and I'm running all over the place to try and find my wallet with my keys, with my phone, with whatever we carry in our wallet. And I was really panicking. And then suddenly I said, this is only a dream, in my dream. I woke up and I immediately told Steve what I had dreamt. Let's fast forward to yesterday actually. I went to Baltimore to see my granddaughter graduate. Congratulations, Sydney, if you're listening. Okay, and we're at the airport. Before that, this is the important part. We actually packed and left the hotel, and I'm carrying this little thing, you know, a bag that I'm carrying, not my purse. And we're getting in the car, and I said, oh my gosh, I just left my purse in the hotel. And my dream came back to me that I had left this. However, I went back, we hadn't got in the car, and I picked it up. Well, now what happens? We go to the airport, we go through security, we leave security, and I'm wheeling my little suitcase on wheels. 5 minutes later, I said, Steve, I don't have my purse. Well, that was how I began to understand. We ran through exactly as my dream had told me, and I mean, he is a witness to this. I ran through back to where the conveyor belt is, asking everybody, have they found a purse? I got the same feeling exactly that I had in my dream. Eventually they found it, but it taught me something. And I'm not here I can't prove anything, but I'm here to tell our viewers that I truly believe in what's happening to me because so much has happened. I found my purse the first time, but I hadn't experienced the actual experience of what I saw in my dream, running down the corridor, which was the airport, eventually finding my purse. But as I'm running, I'm saying exactly what I had in my dream. This is only a dream. And then I found my wallet and everything was there. But I think it was there to teach me something. I really can't complete. If you want to ask me questions on that, I'd be happy to answer that. But I believe that we get premonitions, all of us. However, what I suddenly realized, I don't always think we can change what we feel because it happened. It happened in a small way in the hotel, but in a big way, it happened at the airport exactly that my dream was a week ago. And I would think sometimes that maybe I'm imagining this, but I've always had someone with me to validate because he knew my whole dream. So any questions on that? It's hard, you know, I am where I am right now, so I'd be happy to answer any questions. But I think it's difficult. We have free will to actually change what's going to happen. We can, but it wasn't exactly the same as it was when I left the hotel. The airport was my dream. I don't know if I'm making sense or if you understand what I'm saying, but
Well, if it's making sense to you, then it makes sense. But the dream helped you find your purse.
But in my dream, I didn't. I woke up because it was
knew
a
it was a
dream.
dream.
It was a dream, but I was experiencing exactly the same sensation, exactly. And I'm saying to myself, as I did in my dream, this is only a dream.
Yeah, but it sounds to me like you did not heed your dream. You didn't, when you went to the airport or wherever you went, you should have been better prepared or not take a purse.
But I thought it already happened, but it hadn't happened.
But you
because I
knew it
left
was a
in the-
dream.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm really saying is that we get many messages, not just me, all of us. And sometimes listen to that, because I think that's really to just show you what happened to me. But I think that's really important, to listen what we feel or what we hear, because I truly believe they're trying to tell us something. And if we're going through a happy time or a sad time, listen to our own emotions and listen, because we are given messages. I think that's what it's
See,
all
Dawn,
about.
last week we were talking a little bit about how you see things, hear things, and you don't pay attention to it because it could be a dream, it could be a deja vu. You ever heard, or you ever said to yourself, why is it that I appear to be here again? It's like deja vu. And these are just messages. And we asked Sally if these messages were dictating in which direction we should go, or was this a clear path to something coming and you have to change your direction or fill it out? So in this case, the dream told her what was going to happen, and you did not prepare, Sally.
But after that, I put my purse across me so I knew I wouldn't
Which
leave
is,
it
I think, what
anywhere.
you should have done to begin
But
with.
I still had to have taken it off to go through security, because they ask you to take, your purses off, and I put it there. I forgot that it was on the conveyor belt, but that was a message to tell me and to the viewers and to tell you guys that, sometimes our dreams are predicting our future. I think that's what it's more or less all about. And not everyone, but I still remember that dream, and I know from my background and ones that I remember, they were real, because a lot of these things did happen. And I think it was there to remind me and also my viewers, because I have a platform here now to tell people that, listen, if you remember your dream, because most of the time we don't, and it seems real, it's probably going to happen. So we can predict our future, for sure.
So you know the dream, and then I think it puts you in a mindset of, once you realized you didn't have it, you knew what you needed to do to find it.
Yes.
You'd already gone through the steps in your dream.
And I mean, we didn't remember because there's several conveyor belts. But as I'm running, I got the same emotions exactly that I'd had in my prior dream. Exactly. I'm telling myself what I said in my dream. This is only a dream.
That amazing?
So, yeah, I think it was some sort of a lesson, and I'm glad that we brought it up. I mean, we can go on to another topic, but I think it was an important message to tell
Well,
people.
the other thing I wanted to ask, the first question I have for you is, if somebody else has a dream about something happening to me, should I listen to that or just ignore it?
Yes, because if they're going to voice it to you, Freddie, and it's something about you, I think it's in a message, I believe. I mean, I can't tell you for sure, but I think it's something that you need to know. If someone you know how I kind of figured this out the best that I could. I know no more than anybody here, but I remember a vivid dream. They're vivid dreams. And if it's a message for me, for you, or anybody, then you're meant to tell that person, because they need to be aware of it. If you remember it, because it's not easy to remember your dreams.
And tell me the difference between a guy talking to you and a dream.
Well, you can have both, because in my dream, and I remember my, quote, dreams, lucid, it's easy, I think I've seen that word spoken, is that I remember my dreams from 20 years ago. And a lot of them have definitely come about. I remember the people and places and things that I saw. Now, I could dream yesterday or the day before, a week, or it doesn't matter, a month before. I don't remember. It wasn't significant. But I believe the ones that we're meant to heed the messages are the ones we remember. That's basic. I'm not sure, but that's what I feel they're telling me. The ones that are vivid to you or lucid, we need to take, they can be good messages, they can be warnings, they can be anything. But if we remember them, don't just pass it off.
Sometimes I have strange dreams. I always tell you the next day, and I say to myself, "Don't tell him this dream," and then I end up telling you the dream, and you're like, "What did you do?"
That's one of the reasons I'm asking her the question, because it was, Freddie got bitten by a dog or something. I'm like, wait a minute.
But no, that wasn't the dream I had last night.
I'm using that as an example.
Well, listen to Dawn, because
No, I don't want to listen to Dawn.
Yes, because what the message would be if she's telling you. Again, you don't have to follow what I'm saying, but I believe there is a message for anybody that remembers a dream for themselves or someone else. What's the worst thing? It doesn't happen.
You could fall on your knees. That's the worst thing.
Well, let's be aware of it, okay? Well,
Yeah, why do you think that happened, by the way?
Okay, we need to
Let's
mention
ask Sally.
Well, no, I would never want Dawn to, you fell just before my show. We've had a few incidences happening without airing them before the show. Well, nothing is going to change me or you or you. So I'm going to say, and they weren't pleasant, some of them, you had a fall, the show goes on, and that's really important. We can't, there has to be a message in that. We can't let, and you guys know because you're on the air every day, with what's going on in your life, the moment you come in here, and you know this, and I was in sales, so I knew that too, we leave everything behind. And no matter what has happened in the past, just before a show or even after, that's nothing to do with what we're doing in our now. We're doing a job. It's a good job because we're giving messages, and nothing can interfere with that. Absolutely nothing. I used to say that in sales. I was having a hard time, but the moment I walked into that sales room, I was fine.
Just got to leave it at the door.
Absolutely. So for anybody really, then we're talking to people that are out there that are listening to the show, if you have a job or you have something that you want to do and you feel that you're thinking about all your troubles, it's not easy. But my advice, and I heeded my own advice, don't let it interfere with what's happening at that point in your life. You can always put it on a back burner and you can deal with it another time. But if you're working or whatever it may be and you're enjoying in life, just enjoy what you're going through. We can always settle something else later.
And if you want to call in and ask Sally a call, the number is 866-224. No, it's not. 888-994-4995. Today has been Sunday Studio A. Or you can write in on Call Me Zena's Facebook page, Twitter, Twitch. You can write in, and we'll make sure that your question gets up on the screen. But I also wanted to touch the fact that it seems like something happened in a very short period of time. 4 or 5 incidents all occurred in the studio in a very short period of time, and none of it was any good.
Just now?
So, yeah.
Yes.
So,
yes, it did.
so all of a sudden, you're looking at having a practically even day. Things were good. We got great news in the mail. And with like the yin and the yang all hit at once, including Dawn hitting and getting a header.
She just.
Luckily, it wasn't a header. Luckily, it was only
But
my
you
knees.
fell.
But
You fell just before.
But
the
you
show was
fall
starting.
unannounced. Like you fell once before.
no, I slipped. I slipped again.
But then perhaps you have to get you non-slip feet.
I totally relate to that because anyone that knows me, we're very
You fall
similar
all the
in a lot of ways,
time.
but as
And
long
I'm
as you're
sitting here
feeling all right
thinking,
now.
like, that was the weirdest thing because the floor wasn't even wet, but my foot slipped. I landed on my knees. I screamed. The crew comes running out.
I didn't know what that was. I heard
Nor
a
did you
noise.
get up to find out.
The
But
strange thing is
I heard.
never even heard you scream.
But I've been hearing noises since Baxton walked in. I've been hearing noises, and I was focusing on trying to fix this thing.
yeah.
Josh told me that there was nothing on the floor, so you just fell.
Weird,
So
right?
I
Maybe
guess-
something pushed me.
The message, what do you guys think the message was? I mean, I also had an
But
incident.
you
that
tell
I'm
us. That's what we're
really
here
not
to
happy
Call Me
about.
Zena. We're
Something pushed
calling.
me.
Yeah, okay, I'm getting it, I think. Everything was going great. Really, you had good news.
Yeah.
Then suddenly, I would say the last 45 minutes before my show, everything
Not
was
even 30
even,
minutes
like,
before.
not
that.
even-
because you
yeah.
were having some sort of problem a little bit over there without
It's
mentioning any
been
names.
all around us.
So again, and I've said this, but maybe this is what we needed. They play games with us. So I don't want people to think if everything's going all right, something else has to happen that's going to go wrong. But be aware that you're going to get mischievous people. It happened, I'm sure. We may not like what we're hearing, but you know what? Just carry on in whatever's happening that's good.
Well, it was 3 things, so now we can move on.
Yes.
And none of them were terrible.
Sally has a phone call.
Oh, hi. Hello.
All right.
We
Let's
got
give
to
it
put
a
it
chance
through.
and we'll
We're
put
put
him
the
through.
phone call through, and more on that as we go along, because that was bizarre. Yes, caller.
Hello.
It's Peter.
Hi, Pete.
Got a question.
Pete, your connection's really bad. Can you call back?
How's the connection?
It's terrible because we
breaking
can't
up.
hear you. Yeah.
I'll call back.
All
Okay.
right, call us back.
Okay.
But that whole incident that occurred in less than 15, 30 minutes
Was one thing after another.
was one thing
right?
after the other, after the
know,
other, after
I
the other.
know.
But sometimes, if you don't listen to messages, they're gonna find out a way to get it through.
To get our attention, basically.
Exactly.
So whatever was, and I mean, a few things seem to happen on my show. The fire, right?
It seems like you're like a hot button for catastrophe.
No, but on the other hand, I'm a hot button for the good news.
She's
too.
just a hot button.
Because
that's
I'm
the other
working,
thing.
I guess they're giving me messages, but I try to be very positive about this because we have to have balance. I mean, everybody's running out of here in the middle of a fire. I'm sitting here. Oh, I just take my time because it takes me a while to come back.
You went to the
But you know what?
bathroom when I tell you we gotta go.
Yeah, everything turned out
So what are they
okay.
telling you about what happened the past 15 minutes prior to your show?
Okay, because it was personal to me too, I think, and I keep hearing the show goes on, and that's not just for me. Whatever you're doing, if something happens before, even I'm getting, say, an exam or something, you cannot let that interfere with what your message or the exam, let's use that as it can't distract you, because if you're doing something that's very important in your life, and this show is very important, the cafe is very important. Now, whatever happens before or whatever happens afterwards cannot interfere with, I'm going to use me personally, with what I'm doing now. It can't, it won't, it never will. And I've had many, many messages that way, because what's important to not just me, to each one of us, is what's happening right this second. Not what happened before and not what's going to happen in the future. We have a now, and that now is what changes our future. Nows.
Well, right now you have Peter back on the line.
Hi, Peter. Hello?
Hey there, Sally.
Hi, Pete.
Hey, hi, girl. Here's my question.
My #1 fan.
Yeah, you're my number one. Okay.
It's still not a good line.
Here's my question.
Okay.
I went to see a local priest, reader, psychic, to see how long I was going to possibly live. He used 2 metal rods, one in one hand, one in the other, to come down to an age of 85 for me to live to. What do you know about that kind of metal that readers put in their hands to come up with an answer?
I honestly don't know, because I don't use that method, so it's hard for me to say. And also, for myself personally, I don't predict something like that because I don't want to. But this is a different situation, and this guy used a different way of telling you. So whatever the method is, the only thing I will say, if he gave you other messages that validated what was truly validating for you, then I believe that, I don't know. It's very hard for me to answer that question because I don't do that. And I also would not, and I'm not criticizing anybody that would, if someone asked me how long they were going to live, I would not answer. But everybody works differently, and I'm not saying this guy was right or wrong. That's his method, and that's fine. And I respect that, but it's a hard question for me to answer, Pete, because I don't work that way. Is that, hello?
See where you Yeah, I said the metal pieces he was using were going around
Well, I know
circles
they
and then
do
came
something
back
like-
and pointed to me.
They do dowsing or something. I don't know. I truly can't answer that because I have not
All
used
right.
that method, okay? So I don't want to say something that I don't know anything about.
Right, I understand. Thank you very much for the
Thank you.
answer. Stay
Thank
well.
you. And you too. Thanks for calling in, Pete.
All right, why don't we take a commercial break? When we come back, give us a call. Give Sally a call. 888-994-4995, Studio A. Let's see what the guides have. Talking about staying in the present,
Yeah.
even with all that's going on.
Oh, that is so strange.
More to come. We'll be back.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of two and grandmother of four, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
My story starts at 4 or 5 years old. My name is Sally Barnard, and I was born at the end of the Second World War, in the middle of an air raid siren going off. My parents were in a movie theater, and my mother went into labor. My father ran out of the movie theater, but there was no cabs to be available because everybody is running for cover. However, they found one, and the taxi driver was given the address to take my father and my mother to the hospital. As my mother was in labor, about a half an hour, I arrived at exactly midnight. I think I was fed messages at a very early age. My parents used to like to play cards, and they had a card game every Wednesday or Thursday night at home when I was a baby. And I actually said to them one day, "Why do you keep waking me up at night? The card game is waking me up, and I can't get back to sleep so quickly." And they looked at each other and they said, "We're not really waking her up." They were quite away from my bedroom. And they called in a psychic to say, "What in the world is going on?" And the psychic said that I'm getting many messages that are waking me up at night. I thought whatever I was experiencing, other people were experiencing too. You don't know until you realize that you are different. Many things were happening to me, things that were unexplainable to me. What I had dreamt was happening. I could sense many things, and the things that I was sensing were coming about, but something was going on. I will explain to you everything. You're ready.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book and artwork by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Now back to the show.
Hi, we're back and we're on the air. So anybody, Freddie, Dawn, questions, or anyone that wants to call in, please do so.
We were talking during commercial break about you helped decipher the messages of things that happen and things that you hear.
Right.
So of all the things that happen, the messages of, Freddie was talking about falling, whether we fall physically like I did, emotionally, I don't want to say mentally, I guess that's more emotional, spiritually, ways that we come down. Is that the message of today? Is that what's happening?
I think it's to stay present in the present, I think, because you can't change your fall. Let's use your fall as an example, which Dawn just fell before we came on the air. You can't change that. That happened. But we're now into what I was calling, and I think I just mentioned that too, our next present, now, whatever you want to call it. So we can't change that. We can probably change our future, but we don't know what to change because we don't know what's going to happen on our future. However, having said that, I'm kind of contradicting myself because we do get messages. We definitely know what's going on in the future. I had it at the airport. How would I have a dream of something that hadn't already happened? So it's best that I can tell our viewers, we do get messages about what's going to happen in what we would then call our now. So stay completely present in your present. Put out in your mind, which I'm doing too, of all the things that I'm going to do from here on in over the next year or 2 years. I can organize that, but keep that to go into our next, what do I do about that situation, into what I would call our next present, which is the now. So if we continue to do that, yes, we will get obstacles. I think that's part of life because of the balance. I had obstacles before I came on my show. I'm still a human being. It's not easy, but I know that I have a performance here to give people messages or answers. That to me is more important than anything right now because that's where I am right now. And I will never, and I think I told you that a little while ago, ever let that interfere with what is happening to me at the present.
My grandmother used to call it adjustment of life.
Yes.
So you get a picture, you get a message of what you're going to do, and then when you attempt to do it, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But it isn't a clear path. You have to make adjustments. You have to believe in what you're doing. There's all sorts of things that occur, and it comes in different ways.
Well, I think also because you know that I do talk about gratitude and positivity. So whatever, and I believe a lot of things happen to give us messages. So again, my message is no matter what you're going through, no matter what is happening, try and keep a positive attitude. Is it easy? Absolutely not. It's not easy. But the outcome will be what we're actually learning at that point for our next outcome, if that makes sense. So whatever is going on, and you can be hurt, you can have a lot of feelings, but you can't let that affect you in your now as best you can, because try to turn it around, or if it's unpleasant, let it go. Just let it go and continue your life. If you have to make adjustments after that, that's fine. But as long as we carry a message of gratitude and positivity, we can't always be happy. Of course not.
But Sarah, but what is it, Sally? What is it if people are sensitive to the fact that they want to be able to feel what they feel, right, wrong, or indifferent, and you're trying to explain to them, look on the bright side, be happy about the news or whatever, but they can't because they're emotionally drained. Emotionally drained comes from a spirit
Right.
that's no longer able to keep up with what's going on around them. How do you approach people
Okay.
like that?
I'm going to say, if I am, which I'm going to call myself hopefully a teacher now that I'm teaching people, I can have compassion, and I do have compassion for what's going on, but I can't go down to the level that someone is, if they're suffering, no matter what it is. Because if I go down with that person, you know what's going to happen to me? I'm going to go down. So in any situation, I have the compassion for someone, absolutely, but I have to move forward with who I am. So I'm going to try to make that person have some positivity about the situation that they're going through, because I'm not helping if I don't do that. If I continually agree with somebody that, yes, I can have that feeling, I'm so sorry for you, to let them know that, but I can't come down to that level. It doesn't always happen to me, but I'm very aware that I can't do that because I'm not going to be who I am for what I'm here to do.
That's called the Ay Bendito syndrome. Is that what we call it?
I don't even know because I'm not going to remember what I'm
Ay
saying.
Bendito syndrome is the pity party.
Well, okay, that's a very good example, because if someone, oh, poor me, poor me, poor me, then I'm going to say, well, okay, tell me and listen to all of this. And if I said, you know what, continue the way you are, no matter what it is, I feel I have to use that compassion, but I have to get them out of that poor me thing and look at all the things that could be happening that would be happier than what they're feeling.
But you think you can get someone out of the poor me, or do they have to get themselves out of
They
the poor me?
have to. But if I've reached that level that I'm with them, I believe in vibrational energy, Dawn. It's very, very important to me. That's how I'm doing what I'm doing. So if someone's pulling me down, no matter what it is, I either, and I'm not telling you all to do this, I know for me, I have to excuse myself from that. No matter, and Aldo used to tell me that. It used to drive me crazy because we had a few arguments sometimes, my guide, and he'd say, I have to leave the room. But today, Aldo, and you're listening, you were so right, because otherwise it pulls that other person down. And where on earth are you going to get if you're both down? You've got to move out.
Well, look what happened to you today.
Yeah.
Your
We
earring
can
fell
talk
out.
about it. Yeah.
Your
My
earring
earring
fell
fell
out.
out, yes.
Which
It did.
simple as it, right? You wouldn't think twice about your earring falling out. But to you, that means something.
Absolutely, because my friend Mindy, and I know she always watches the show, maybe she's not right now, but she will listen to the recording. Mindy, I was talking about something that was good news, and you know what? My earring fell off. And she'd be the first person that you probably, I don't know, because she's in the middle of moving, but she would call in and say that happens to her, and she knows it's Aldo. And within 2 minutes of the good news that I had received, my earring fell off. And there's no way, it's screwed into the back of my ear.
So does that tell you good news is coming or bad news is
No,
coming?
it means that what's happening, it's that that person is watching me and they know what's going on. And again, I'm going to bring that into what I truly believe a premonition. They knew, and I won't say on the air, and I mean I would, but I'm not going to. I had a horrible experience 2 minutes or 3 minutes later, okay? And I felt really bad, but they were trying to tell me they've got my back. That's exactly what Aldo is telling me. Don't worry about it. This too shall pass. He was telling me he was there.
That's what I was wondering, if that message meant that he was here with
He was
you.
here with me, Dawn. They can see what's going to happen in the future. It doesn't always happen, but I think he was very aware of a situation, without saying it obviously on the air, that I was going to go through. And he's going, and he's telling me right now, I've got your back. He has my back, and that's fine. And I have to proceed the way that I have to proceed, not just me. We happen to have a situation which is now a message for me to give to everybody else. Unfortunately, you fell. I don't really know what that was about.
Why did I fall, Sally?
But I think because there was a few situations that happened here, correct, before my show went on. It affected you, Dawn. You didn't have around you, you had people around you, and thank goodness you didn't hurt yourself. You could have done, it could have been worse. But then the vibration, okay, I'm getting it. The vibrational energy changes. So if I had gone down with a situation that had happened to me, I wouldn't have been able to even do my show. I can't do that. But it also affects the people around me. You fell. So you see how, can you see? Because only we know what happened, but it affects everybody in the surrounding area, not just me.
It changes the
It
dynamics
changes the
of,
dynamics.
right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Because
That's
what
what.
we say,
That was
we
a
do take
perfect
it
lesson.
personally.
But this is what we were talking about in commercial break. It's spiritual, it's mental, and it's funny because everybody is affected differently.
Yep.
Not to say that one incident created all of it, but it sure as hell didn't stop it from coming
And
about.
it was accumulation of a few different things.
Yeah.
So if we don't get it on the first one, you know what? It's going to happen again. If we don't get it on the second, something else. You're full.
By the third, it's like, hello.
Hello, someone's knocking on our door.
My
here.
computer was downloading film while we were doing our show, and when I went back there, I hit the keyboard and it turned off.
Oh, really?
And I had lost everything that I had been working on for 2 hours. So I had to start again. That's why when you fell and I heard a noise, I didn't come running because I didn't know what the hell was going on. Then there was another noise. I didn't know what that was. There was another noise. That one I got up for because I couldn't. I'm like, what is in the water today?
So you see how they're trying, can you see it follows a pattern? And it definitely, because it's just before my show. So we're meant to tell viewers too. They're trying to get our attention somehow, some way. That's how they can do it. Hopefully no one gets hurt. You didn't hopefully get hurt.
okay.
But these little things will happen. But we can't take it, because if we do, and you suddenly said, oh, I'm hurting, this can also happen. I don't believe you did anything to yourself, Dawn. But we also can make what's going to happen to us, even if we're not even sure. Oh my gosh, I hope I don't fall again, let's say. I'm using this because I fall a lot. I say to myself, I'm not going to fall anymore. You know, I had to go up and down stairs yesterday. It was my granddaughter's graduation. And I was very conscious of that, but I'm very aware that I fall. So I'm very aware I have to be careful when I go up and down stairs.
Well, Sally, I wanted to bring up a subject. Usually when people call in, it's either they don't know if a relationship is going to work out or they're going to find one. It's never in a positive light. There's always something negative that they want some kind of explanation, some kind of awareness, something. Nobody ever calls you and says, hey, today I woke up happy because I'm alive, because there's no question in that. The question is, why did I wake up today feeling in a bad mood? Why am I depressed? Why is it that my cornflakes have no milk? Those kind of deals. My question to you is, how do you respond to somebody having a bad day without egging them on that they're not listening to all the signs they're being given?
The only thing, in answer to the question, is that as long as I remain positive, listening to that person, I'm not going to continue with that lower vibrational energy.
But they're not going to learn that way.
No. They are already, because they're expressing it to me, so they're fully aware of what's going on. So they're learning, because something is keeping going wrong.
But expressing it is train of thought, because they're still going to feel worse when you tell them.
Well, I can only say, let's say that they're telling me. I mean, they can tell other people too. As far as I'm concerned, if someone's giving me, say, a bad scenario, it could be anything, okay? Again, it's very much a topic of what we're talking about. If I sink to that low, I'm going to call it vibrational energy of what they're going through, how in the world can I give them advice? Now, they may not listen, but the fact that they've actually asked me a question, which if it's wrong, and it usually is, people say, why does this keep happening? If I sink to, let's say, a lower vibrational energy, I can't lift myself up and I can't lift them up. So for me, and I'm only talking personally for what I do, I cannot do that because I can't help that way. But we can all take that as an example. If someone's telling you a story and everything is going wrong in their life, we don't need to bring it like, oh, I'm so, yeah, you can say I'm sorry. Of course you can say that because there's no compassion otherwise. Let's try and see how we can help each other. I'm going to try and help you with some of the things that I think that you could do. If I said, no, you're right, and tomorrow's going to be a bad day, and the next day's going to be a bad day, you see how that works? We need to lift ourselves up and that person up, because otherwise it continues. We've often said, oh, I'm having a bad day. When you say that, I absolutely, and I'm sure people can relate to this, I'm having a bad day. Your day will continue with things going wrong. They need someone, not just me, anybody. Let's see what we can do to change this, okay? By even saying that, we're lifting ourselves a little higher out of that situation, if that makes sense. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Changing the energy.
Yes, you're absolutely.
Yeah, how do you get people out of their own heads? I mean, the energy is the energy. They're going to walk around still in their own heads.
Well, that's their choice at that point.
No, but the problem here is you're picking bad. You're making a bad deal to make a deal. So if you're asking a question and you're not going to listen to the answer, and you're going to continue to stay in your head, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday becomes a repeat.
Well, I guess we're all here to help one another, okay? And if I am aware of that, I'm going to do my best to lift that person up. I can't save the world. I can't save anybody. I can only express what I'm feeling, that they might, or they don't have to listen to me. And I say that many times. I can tell you from a different point of view what we should be doing. If they don't want to listen, it could have many different reasons. It may be that they need to definitely go through that lesson. They may not. It may be by voicing it, they're coming out of that and they can lift it higher. I can only advise. I can't tell someone definitely do this. I can only advise someone to try and see what we can do to change it. I cannot sink to that level. And I think I proved myself to that, actually.
So maybe all of this message was for you to see how strong you really
I
are.
think so. I'm beginning to see that. Okay. No, I would never wish you to fall.
No, but you know what? You kept going, and I'm okay. And
Yeah, and that's important through life. I've had many, many times that I've had to do that. I mean, really bad situations that someone else might. I'm not a super person, but I knew that I had a job to perform. And I'll go back to when I was in sales. And my manager used to say to me, with all what you're going through, how are you able to perform that way? If I didn't perform, I would have no money coming in. And money is important when you need it. So I used to totally put it on the side. It's not easy, but that's my recommendation for people. Do it if it's important to you with what you're doing, no matter what has happened before or what's going to happen. Concentrate on your now. That's really important.
all right, so I'm going to ask you, what do my guides say to you for now?
For you?
For me?
Okay. Don't fall. Yes, don't fall. And I definitely can relate to that. People that know me, I've broken 2 shoulders, so they're okay today. Be very conscious of your surroundings, Dawn. Okay, this is a message. This is coming through to me. Don't. You know what happened in the studio affected all of us. It's not just me, my situation, or what happened to you. It does affect the people around you. They're going to feel things, so it will escalate into somebody else, which we actually saw from starting over there with your conversation. One thing led to another to another. So be very aware of the situation that's going on around you. Try to be everything I believe that I've been saying on the show. Try to pull yourself out and don't get too involved in other people's problems. We all have problems, but that's their stuff. All you can do, and I feel that this is important for you, is to recommend what you would do or to bring themselves out of that situation. You don't have to be a psychic or a medium, but I believe you are, but you don't have to. We just don't want to sink down. That's so important, because then it goes to you. I'm going to use us, to you, me, and then to Freddie, whoever else is around. I think if we're aware of that, why would we need to break that chain? We need to know that that's what's going to happen. So let's break that chain while we can. Does that, I mean, I'm not sure what I'm saying, but does that all make sense?
It does, but you know, if you don't take responsibility to learn a lesson, to listen to that lesson, to at least think about what it is you're doing, it's going to spill over.
Yeah, but then again, this is interesting too, and this is what I'm hearing. That lesson that someone's going through is for that person. Now, there might be, because I believe we attract vibrational energy, it might be for the next person too.
Right.
But it might not be for the third person. So I'm seeing this very clearly. So if it's just for that one person that's going through something, we can't let it affect ourselves, who's listening, because we're then going to continue that chain. It might be that, say, for me, I might have needed to know, I don't know. But the next, we have to break it. We have to break that chain. Does that make sense?
It does, and I think that people that are listening today, people that are watching, even if you're watching the show on tape delay, you can still write your questions in there, because Sally will answer them. I think you have to be courage enough to ask the question. I think it starts with that. You have to be able to say, you know, how can so many things go wrong at the same time? And this is just repetitive non-listening.
Exactly. Because if we don't understand that, it will continue, and it continues to the next day and the next day. But if we the most important lesson I think that we should all take from this is the awareness of what we're talking about, the awareness that that person is going through something. It doesn't mean to say that they may need a sounding block. It's their problem. It's not going to be, if we say it's not our problem, we could have another problem, we're going to pass that on to somebody else. It could be something different. We have to be aware, because if we're not aware, it will continue. And I'm not saying anybody should ever, and I will say this, we don't need abuse from anybody. We need to stop that immediately, because otherwise it carries on, and then to the next person, the next person. If we don't stop it, it'll continue.
Do you think that the level of having faith or belief in one's guides, does it start there?
Absolutely. I've always said, I believe anything is possible if we believe. So if we believe that and we hear a voice in our head telling us to do or not do something, that's a belief, that's faith. I think we should carry on and listen to that. And I've often said, what can go so wrong? If we're listening, you know, if it's wrong, we'll listen again. I truly believe that we all get messages from what we will, let's call, the other side. They try to help us. It must be very frustrating for them too.
So they'll just push me down.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe there is actually, and I'm glad you didn't hurt yourself, and I'm not making fun of this at all, but maybe there's something that you're not, I'm not going to say, yes, it may not even be a lesson. It's something maybe that you're not listening to. It may be the smallest thing, but they're trying to get your attention, Dawn. I do believe that. But it didn't hurt you. Hopefully you're feeling okay. And for both of us sitting here, because she is the beginning of the chain here with that. I had an instant before. If it had affected you and Freddie, how it affected me, I might not have been able to pull myself out of it. We have to support. I guess the word is we need to support one another.
Exactly. And I think that the quicker that you get to the point of acceptance, the quicker you're going to get to answers that you're seeking.
100%. I have felt over the next, anybody that's been close to me will see that. I feel that my journey is of what I'm doing now is at the beginning again, of what I now know I must and need to do, because this is who I am. I'm getting validation after validation after validation. And it's not just me. I've had people around that have seen this validation. And again, it's not just me. You have that and you have that. We all have that. We just don't listen sometimes because we don't believe. Belief is very important. Faith.
It's funny when people don't quite understand what it is you see, but you are more in touch with what's around you, and you do understand, and you can't explain what you see because they're never going to understand it. And the reason they don't understand it is because they can't even see their own signs yet.
Yes, because if you're talking to someone, and there's, you know, we all start with, unfortunately, that we have doubt. We need proof. But if we can believe, and faith, anything that gives you faith is worth following. Be it anything, religion, anything that you have, what we would call, let's say, a higher power, God, however you want to present that. It's so important because that goes into us. We know that what we're doing, that we're being guided, no matter what it is. If it's through religion, that's all right too, because anything that gives you something that we follow is very good, believing that it's on a higher vibrational energy. So we follow that. Well, not everything is going to be good. We're going to get one after another, but we have to keep ourselves up.
We have to stay up.
If we don't, our life's going to continue that way.
And if you are the only positive light in a bed, in an ocean full of negative around you, you're going to have to work twice as hard.
That's right.
To raise that and to be able to continue to prosper among everything around you. Difficult lesson to learn.
It's a very difficult lesson, but you know what? And this is what I say, whoever is listening, I need help too, that my message gave them hope, because I'm here to spread what I can. I want to do this. I will never stop doing this. And I think you've got an idea where I'm coming. You know, I know you guys know that. So I can't let other people's negativity affect me. It happens, but if we each and every one see that, and we see the signs, and when we start to raise up that, and things start happening, they'll tell us, they'll congratulate us, they'll give us something. Well, I'm not saying necessarily win the lottery, but you'll say, you know, because there's good and bad to that too, but they will give us an indication they're listening.
They're listening. They're all right here.
They are absolutely right here, absolutely.
And I want to ask, I'm looking at your paintings. I think we started late, so we've got a couple extra minutes. The detail on your paintings, you do this in a trance. You don't go in knowing what you're going to paint.
No. It's just like my show, and I don't even know what I've painted until I actually look at the finished canvas. I know when I've finished, and I know when I start, but I have no idea what's going to come out in that canvas. Absolutely
Because the
no idea.
details of the one behind your right shoulder is tremendous. I mean, the lines, the fine lines, the colors, the intricacies of it. What does that look like to you? What does that picture mean to you? Do you remember where you were in your mindset when you painted that?
I really don't, because I guess I am in the same trance that I'm in right now. I know that I can pull myself out of it because sometimes my phone used to go when with things that I have to answer. But it comes to me the same way as I don't know our topics. And people have called me and said, you know what, I answer so quickly with an answer. If I'm Sally just sitting in the studio here, I would take a minute or two and say, let me think about that. But I've been pointed out by many people that I don't. And how do I do that? I don't know. I believe we all can do this if we know that we can. Well, we were at different levels in our life. I'm here on a journey for me, and I can only talk personally, but it doesn't mean that I'm here to spread, by example, what is happening to me, to hope somebody else will be able to follow in that. And I will continue to do that. No matter what happens to the things around me, I don't care. It's me.
One of the things that we do in studio is that we mix the frequency of the art. So we don't put all the works of one person in one corner. It has layers. But that's done on purpose. Because one of the things you have to remember is that just like frequency, souls are all different. And if you have a wall of just one saying, that wall is eventually going to evaporate.
Yeah.
If you mix it up in here the way we've done it, you walk and everything changes. And your artwork brings life to another piece of artwork that brings life to another piece of artwork, and it's never ending.
Yes, I see that. That's exactly kind of what we're talking about. It's amazing. It does, because my first instinct was to put people's art to, I even mentioned that. Why don't you put mine or somewhere, somebody else's or somewhere? But I think that mixture is very important. Yes, I see that. I do see that.
It creates an opportunity for people to share their energies.
I agree, and I see that. You see that painting? The viewers are not going to be. It's like two eyes looking at us out of that painting.
Oh, and the flower.
Yes. Yeah, paintings have meanings. I can't tell you necessarily what mine are. I see people talking about the way that I paint. People see different, in all my art, they all see different things. It's where we are. If someone, let's say, is totally depressed, they're going to see maybe a part of someone is really up about everything, they're going to see something different.
That's what your art does.
Yeah.
What's different about your art is that it dictates how people feel.
Yeah.
And how it could be good, better, and different. It doesn't really make a difference. But it's the energy that it allows you to speak up what you do want, what you don't want, and all of a sudden things change when it's occurring. So it's an interesting phenomenon that we've been going through. For me, the artwork talks to me of where it wants to be placed, not where I want to place it, but where it wants to be placed, because it wants to talk to the persons that come through the door.
I absolutely see that too. And it's the interpretation of how people interpret it. So let's say my art is next to somebody else's art, which it will be. They'll see what they need to see in my art, because mine is really different, so everybody sees. But it'll still apply to the next one next to it too. Only more people might see what it is because it's more recognizable. Mine is not.
That's just a mirror image of your soul. Your soul.
Perfect.
Your soul actually allows others to speak what's in theirs. One of the few deficiencies that we have as human beings is that we're not able to communicate what we feel deeply inside. We do things, or we act in things, or we react to things, but we never explain the reason why. Now, the new show you're going to be doing with Jay is Inside the Mind of an Artist, which developed on your show. I came up with that because the more I see the energies and the different paintings and the artists that come in here, sometimes art sells by being next to other art. And it has a balance. And when you take it home, if you don't have the balance, it's going to look different.
And you also, if you see when people buy art, they have a specific place in their house where they may want to place a piece of art.
Exactly.
So they'll pick up that energy, which is very appropriate for that maybe corner or wherever it's going to be. It all carries on. It's, again, I've never used the word chain before, but I feel like it's a chain that we proceed with our journey through what we do. And one thing, if we're okay with it, the next thing will happen.
All layered steps.
Yeah.
Layers. And it's
Absolutely.
interesting because that's really what life is like. what life is all about. There is no right, there is no wrong. There are layers to the truth, and you got to get there. But it all begins with yourself.
Absolutely. I think this has turned out to be, in spite of everything that happened before the show, for me at least, and I hope for you and for our viewers, this has turned into a very interesting discussion on what's going on. Again, I won't remember all of it, but that's fine because I'll turn it on and listen to the recording.
Any last words for anyone before this show ends?
Only with all the messages that we've talked about, and the important thing is stay in your present. You can make your present the next. If it's a good present, we can continue that. That's all that really is. It goes from one screen to another to another. So if we're up now, everything is going to be up for the next, let's say, 5 minutes. We don't have to go for the whole day, but let's take little baby steps, and you'll see it will continue. It's basically what I feel.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you for my guests,
Thank
Dawn
you.
and Freddie. Thank you very much. See you all. No, next week is Memorial Weekend. Have a very happy Memorial Weekend. It's coming up soon.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.